Welcome to all. My name is Syed Abdul, working as assistant professor under NPU at Harcourt Butler Technical University, Kanpur. So I welcome all of you to second lecture of frozen foods and cold chain management, that is microbiology of frozen foods. So in this lecture, we will microbiological aspects of frozen foods, then influence of freezing and frozen storage, that is storage at minus 18 degrees centigrade or below, on quality of foods, and thawing of frozen foods and how it affects the quality of the frozen foods. So if you look at the microbiological aspects of frozen foods, so there are studies which shows that the growth of microorganisms below minus 12 degrees centigrades. Okay, the growth of microorganisms in foods at temperatures below about minus 12 degrees centigrade has been confirmed. So that is why the storage temperatures used for frozen foods are about minus 18 degrees centigrade and below to prevent microbiological spoilage. Although microbial numbers are usually reduced during freezing and frozen storage, excluding spores, frozen foods are not sterile because we are not completely destroying the microorganisms, we are inactivating the microorganisms, and there is a high chance of spoilage of the unfrozen product if temperatures are sufficiently high and storage times at these temperatures are excessive. Means if we keep the frozen food product at high temperature, or we expose the frozen food to high temperature during storage or during distribution or during retail display, so that and the storage time, if at that high temperatures is high, then there may be spoilage due to the activity of the microorganisms, because freezing is not a sterile operation, or you can say completely destroy the microorganisms. So the sensitivity of microorganisms is significantly different for freezing. During freezing, the main concern about the microbiological aspects of freezing is the growth of organisms during thawing rather than during freezing. So if you look at the freezing frozen foods or application, the end operation in the frozen foods application is over thawing, which is left to the consumers only. So during thawing there is a high risk of microbial spoilage of the food product, because in thawing we apply temperatures to reduce the temperature or to bring it to the room temperature. So in general, the freezing process does not significantly destroy the microorganisms that may be present in fruits and vegetables, but the unit operations such as blanching, which is used in the processing of frozen foods or frozen fruits and vegetables prior to freezing, destroys some microorganisms, and there is a gradual decline in the number of microorganisms during freezer storage due to the inactivity and unable to survive because their cellular metabolism is reduced. However, a sufficient number of survivors are still present that can multiply and cause spoilage of the product during thawing. Another important one is fluctuations in storage temperature, which leads to deterioration of frozen food products during storage. Thus, a careful inspection of frozen food products is essential to ensure proper freezing storage with constant temperatures. So, the exact mechanism by which freezing, frozen storage, and thawing kill or damage microbial cells are not fully understood, although a number of studies have been conducted on the nature and sites of such injury. So, we will discuss some of them. So, some of the factors involved are low temperature. As we know, freezing involves low temperature, application of low temperature, extracellular or intracellular ice formation. So, this formation of ice either the outside the cell or inside the cell. Concentration of solutes, we discussed that there is increase in concentration of solutes and internal pressure. So if you look at the above factors, the low temperature and internal pressure seem to be relatively unimportant. The internal pressure in the food may rise to 106 megapascal or more, especially during very rapid freezing. This pressure is sufficiently high to cause undesirable textural changes in some foods, but not nearly high enough to inactivate microorganisms. So whatever the temperature, internal pressure increases, so that may not cause the inactivation of microorganisms, or you can say that is not sufficient for the inactivation of microorganisms. and that may cause textural damage to the food products. Slow freezing encourages the growth of few extracellular ice crystals. The extracellular fluid becomes concentrated due to the formation of extracellular ice crystals, causing dehydration of the cells by forcing water to move out. So these are the findings of few studies. This make it difficult for the water molecules to return to their original sites and may injure or kill the microorganism during and after thawing. This is the example of slow freezing. So if you look at the principal site of bacterial damage during freezing is the membrane due to the growth of these ice crystals and leading to leakage of internal cell material. Cell membrane seems to lose some barrier properties at temperatures below about minus 15 degrees centigrade. So there are studies who shows that if you reduce the temperature to below minus 15 degrees centigrade, the cell membranes of microbes may lose some barrier properties, thus affecting their growth. During freezing, cells may be injured as a consequence of dissociation of lipoproteins. So this is very important. So lipoproteins are present in the cell membranes. The dissociation may be caused by an increase in the concentration of cell solutes and a resulting increase in ionic strength. So these all the changes that may happen during freezing as the water is converted into ice. So there may be increase in the solute concentration that may lead to increase in the ionic strength, changes in pH, physical contact between lipoproteins and cell wall takes place. So if you look at most of the studies show that studied on influence of freezing and thawing and microorganisms death have been model experiments and have concluded that survival of microorganisms depends on the freezing and thawing rates along with numerous other factors. So the main factors that affecting the survival of microorganisms in frozen foods are rate of freezing and rate of thawing. So if you look at a combination of rapid freezing and slow thawing may kill more bacteria than that of slow freezing and rapid thawing. So this is very important. If you look at this curve from a study, so this is percentage survival of organisms and this is at storage temperatures. Rapid freezing and slow thawing, that means in curve A they did rapid freezing and slow thawing and B shows slow freezing and rapid thawing. So even though slow freezing and rapid thawing temperatures are reduced, the number of microorganisms survived are high, but in case of rapid freezing and slow thawing, the number of survivals are less. Commercial frozen food operations, slow freezing is generally thought to be more damaging than quick or ultra fast freezing, such as would occur in blast freezer or in food as bed dryer. This we have discussed in lecture. So if you look at a study which shows that the effect of processing and bacterial count in peas at various stages of processing. So here thousands of bacteria per grams of peas and point of sampling. So when they receive at platform, the thousands of bacteria per gram is 11,346. After washing it is reduced to 1090. After blanching it is reduced to significantly to a 10. When it is entered freezer, it has a number of thousands of bacteria is 736. After freezing there is a decrease, not we can say a significant decrease, slight decrease in number of bacteria. So if you look at some of the microorganisms that associate with the frozen vegetables are Salmonella, Bacillus cereus, Listeria monocytogenes and Yersinia enterocoletica. And in vegetables, if you instead of thawing them, if you directly boil them or cook them, so there is a high chance of retaining the quality as well as the safety of such vegetables is very high. If you look at the mechanical damage to the food structure, as you may know, when you froze water, when it converts from water to ice, there is increase in volume. So there is a principle called 9/11. That means if you freeze 9 cc of water, you will get 11 cc of ice. So that means there is around 10% increase in volume, specific volume you can say. So when you freeze 99 ml of water, you can get around 1100 ml of ice. So that is significant increase in the volume. So this increase in volume caused by the conversion of water to ice may compress the food matrix and ice crystals expansion in some fruits such as strawberry damages them severely because of their delicate structure, and food becomes soggy on thawing. So another aspect of mechanical damage is on a microscopic scale during very ultra rapid freezing, as in case cryogenic freezing, that may cause thermal shock and may cause thermal stresses due to expansion may crack the food. Another one is cross-linking of fruit proteins, especially in fish and meat. As we know, there is increase in concentration of solutes during freezing, decrease in the amount of liquid water available to the proteins, and increase of electrolyte concentration during freezing led to aggregation and denaturation of actomycin. So this study was done by Cornell. So it shows that during freezing there is aggregation and denaturation of actomycin, which is muscle protein, right? So limited reabsorption of water and thawing, this can be attributed to the second limitation, second quality change. There are cross-linked are formed between the protein molecules of actomycin. During thawing, the water which is converted into the ice which is converted into water may not be able to reabsorb by those muscle proteins, and leading to the drip loss, that means release of exudate, which is known as drip loss, and may increase the toughness of the texture in the muscle. So which are main attributes determining the quality of the frozen fish and meat. So if you look at the thawing of frozen foods, so thawing is nothing but reversal of freezing. Here energy is supplied to bring down the temperature of the frozen food to normal temperature so that it can be consumed by the consumer. So it is a very difficult operation and requires care for three reasons. One is, when you thaw a frozen food, it creates a liquid layer at the outer and the frozen layer at the center. So that liquid layer is having low thermal conductivity compared to the frozen layer. So the heat flow is not high, and we cannot achieve. Second reason is, we cannot achieve as much as temperature gradient we want because without cooking the food during thawing. During thawing, there is a high risk of microbial growth because of temperatures times allowing bacterial growth. Emerging method of thawing that does not have the limitation is pressure shift thawing. One could deduce this from the phase diagram of water. That means when we apply a pressure around 200 to 400 megapascal, even at minus 15 degrees centigrade, the water remains in liquid state. So we can apply only pressure rather than temperature, so that the ice is converted into water and we can use the food product. Okay, so that type of freezing is known as pressure shift thawing. Sorry, the type of thawing is known as pressure shift thawing. So this can be one of the emerging technologies. So with this we will conclude our lecture and we will start in next lecture. Thank you.